It's that time of year again, when millions of people gather around their TVs, not just for football, but for what's arguably the biggest advertising event in the world, Super Bowl commercials. Now, let's be honest, some of us don't even really care who wins the game. We're here for the ads, the spectacle, the laughs, the surprises. Every year, companies shell out millions of dollars for just 30 seconds of airtime, hoping to capture our attention, make us laugh, make us cry, or even just get us talking long after the game ends. But have you noticed how these commercials have been getting bigger, bolder, and frankly, more crazy over the years? Over-the-top celebrity cameos, million-dollar CGI effects, elaborate plot lines that feel more like mini-movies than ads. It's all part of the evolution of Super Bowl commercials. But why? What's driving this arms race for the most outrageous, most memorable ad of the year? And how do we go from simple, straightforward commercials to these really cinematic, star-studded spectacles that we see today? That's what we're diving into today. Today's topic: why Super Bowl commercials have become crazier than ever. To understand how we got to this point, we need to go back to the very beginning. The first ever Super Bowl was played on January 15th, 1967, between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, it wasn't the spectacle that we know today. There were empty seats in the stadium. The halftime show featured 2 college marching bands instead of global superstars. And the commercials? Well, they were just ads. Simple, straightforward, and focused solely on selling the product. Now, back then, a 30-second Super Bowl commercial cost around $37,500, which, by today's standards, is a steal. Compare that to 2025, where a 30-second ad costs upwards of $8 million. That's an over 21,000% increase in price. So, what's changed? Why did Super Bowl ads become much-watched entertainment instead of simply just another break in between plays? The moment that changed everything came in 1984. That year, Apple debuted its now iconic 1984 commercial, directed by Ridley Scott.
And then any fleet, what are we on earth? We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Now, it was unlike anything audiences have ever seen before. No jingles, no product close-ups, no smiling actors using the product. Instead, it was a cinematic dystopian vision inspired by George Orwell's novel 1984, depicting a totalitarian world where a lone woman smashes a screen, broadcasting Big Brother's message. Now, the message? Apple's new Macintosh was going to revolutionize computing. That commercial aired only once during the Super Bowl, and it became one of the most talked about ads of all time. And it set a precedent. Companies realized that a Super Bowl ad could be more than just an ad. It could be an event. After Apple's success, the race was on. Every brand wanted to create the next unforgettable Super Bowl commercial. Now, fast forward to today, and we've reached an era where brands are willing to spend tens of millions of dollars, not just on airtime, but on the production of these ads. Why? Because the Super Bowl is one of the last remaining true mass audience events in the world. In an era of streaming, social media, and fragmented viewership, the Super Bowl is one of the few events where brands can reach over 100 million people all at once. And if you're spending $8 million for 30 seconds, you better make it count. That's why brands now pull out all the stops. From A-list celebrities, think of this year's ad with David Beckham and Matt Damon as twin brothers.
Mum, Dad?
We have something to tell you.
You have a twin brother we never told you about.
I'm sorry.
So? What's his name?
Other David.
You called him Other David.
If there's 2 Davids, one has to be Other David.
Where is he?
Left him in America.
Are you...
Beckham. Dave Beckham.
Or bizarre moments. Take, for example, Mountain Dew's Kiss from a Lime commercial. Weirdness for weirdness sake is a strategy, and it clearly paid off here. Now, another reason the Super Bowl commercials have gone next level, brands are now designing them to tap into cultural moments and create instant conversation. Many of the commercials in this year's big game returned to traditional beer drinking dads and women in bikinis. Take for example, the Bud Light ad with Post Malone.
You gonna go fishing tomorrow?
I got a colonoscopy tomorrow.
Fellas, I accidentally threw a lame party.
Okay, Ted.
They're on their way. They're here.
You call this a party?
Cul-de-sac party.
Launch. These beers are a metaphor for an invitation.
Is that our leaf blower?
It's not just about selling a product. It's about being part of the cultural conversation. Humor has always been a major ingredient of Super Bowl ads, and this year was really no different. This year's Pringles ad comes to mind.
We're out of Pringles.
Just blow in the can. Do it.
I'd like to thank our fans.
In recent years, brands have started mixing something even more powerful: nostalgia. A prime example is the recreation of popular scenes from old movies. Like this year, how Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal reunited to recreate the iconic Cat's Deli scene from their 1989 movie When Harry Met Sally.
I can't believe they let us back in this place.
What, no good?
No.
Oh. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, boy.
So good. Oh, it is so.
This one's real.
Oh.
Add that as a sandwich.
I'll have what she's having.
Nostalgia works because it taps into our emotions, making the ad more memorable and shareable. Now, one of the biggest reasons Super Bowl commercials have become more extreme is the internet. Back in the 1900s and early 2000s, if you missed a Super Bowl ad, that was it. Maybe you'd catch it on the TV later, but it wasn't guaranteed. Today, ads are released even before the Super Bowl. They're optimized for social media virality. They get millions of views on YouTube and TikTok even before the game starts. That means brands aren't simply competing for attention during the Super Bowl, but they're competing in the weeks leading up to it. That's why they're making their ads bigger, crazier, and even more attention-grabbing than ever before. And that really leads us to the next big question. What does the future hold for Super Bowl commercials? How could they possibly get bigger, bolder, and even more outrageous? The truth is, the future of Super Bowl advertising is already unfolding right before our eyes. Brands are already experimenting with cutting-edge technology, new storytelling formats, and interactive experiences that push the boundaries of what a commercial can really be. For decades, the Super Bowl ad was the holy grail of marketing. A single moment where brands had one shot to make an impact. But that era is ending. The ad you see won't be the ad I see. AI will generate personalized commercials in real time, adapting to location, search history, and even a game's outcome. A sneaker brand won't just run one national ad. It'll serve thousands of variations simultaneously. If your team is losing, you might see a commercial offering comfort. But if they're winning, a celebratory version might pop up instead. Super Bowl ads won't be fixed cultural moments anymore. They'll be living, breathing experiences tailored to each viewer. Here's really where I think things are headed. AI-generated and personalized ads. We've entered an era where AI tools like OpenAI Sora and Runway ML can generate entire video commercials without a camera ever rolling. Now imagine a future where a brand doesn't just release one Super Bowl ad, but hundreds of variations, each tailored to specific audience segments. So if you love sci-fi, your version of the ad might feel like a Star Wars movie. If you're into comedy, maybe it's a hilarious skit starring a deepfaked Will Ferrell. And if you're a nostalgic millennial, you might get an ad that mimics a 90s sitcom. AI-powered personalization means brands won't just broadcast one ad to 100 million people, they'll serve different versions to different demographics. Picture this. You scan a QR code, take a selfie, and suddenly you appear in a Super Bowl commercial, customized just for you. That level of engagement would blow traditional advertising out of the water. This shift isn't just about personalization, it's about speed. Right now, brands spend months crafting their Super Bowl spots, locking in a final cut weeks before kickoff. By 2035, that process will collapse in minutes. AI will write, test, and refine ads on the fly, analyzing reactions across platforms and adjusting the narrative in real time. The idea of a final cut will disappear, replaced by an ever-evolving ad experience. But that doesn't mean creativity disappears. If anything, it expands. AI can generate variations, but it can't create meaning. It can optimize, but it can't originate. The best campaigns will be led by creatives who know how to harness this power, not just to replace ideas, but to amplify them in ways we've never seen before. Augmented reality and virtual reality experiences. Super Bowl commercials are no longer confined to the TV screen. Brands are beginning to expand into augmented reality and virtual reality. In 2022, Miller Lite created a Meta Lite bar inside the metaverse, where users could experience an interactive Super Bowl ad inside a virtual bar. Snapchat's AR lenses have already been used for Super Bowl activations, allowing users to engage with brands by simply pointing their phone at the screen. Now, picture this. A Nike Super Bowl ad where you can try on virtual sneakers using AR. A Dorito ad that lets you catch flying chips in your living room via your phone's camera. Or a Marvel movie trailer where your VR headset transports you directly into the action. It isn't science fiction. It's already happening. The question is how quickly brands will scale these experiences to reach millions of people all at once. AI-powered celebrity deepfakes and virtual influencers. For years, Super Bowl commercials have leaned on celebrity cameos to drive cultural impact. But what happens when brands can create their own digital ambassadors? AI-generated personalities will engage across platforms, interact with the fans real time, and extend beyond a single campaign. These digital figures won't just sell products. They'll become long-term brand voices, evolving over time in ways human spokespeople never could. Even nostalgia will take on new forms, with legendary athletes and cultural icons digitally reimagined to bridge the past and present. The question isn't whether AI can create believable digital figures, it's how brands will use them to deepen audience connection. We've already witnessed and reached the point where AI can realistically recreate dead celebrities. The ethical debate is still ongoing, but brands are already experimenting with digital resurrections. Now, imagine a Super Bowl ad featuring an AI-generated version of Steve Jobs, Robin Williams, or Elvis Presley. It would both be fascinating and controversial, exactly the kind of thing brands thrive on during the Super Bowl. In this world of infinite content, authenticity will matter more than ever. The brands that win won't be those trying to contain the conversation, but those creating ideas so powerful that they spread organically. The future of Super Bowl advertising won't be about control. It'll be about creating moments that feel real, memorable, and worth engaging with. At this point, Super Bowl commercials aren't just ads. They're cultural events that can live on for months, even years after the game. For brands, this will be one of the hardest shifts of all. The ones that thrive won't be those clinging on to the old playbook, but those embracing co-creation, real-time storytelling, and marketing that feels more like an experience than an interruption. The goal won't be making the perfect ad. It'll be setting a creative idea in motion and letting it take a life of its own. Now, 30 years ago, we said everything that could be digital would be. Now, everything that can be adaptive, interactive, and AI-driven will be. The Super Bowl won't just be a moment in time. It'll be a dynamic, ever-evolving spectacle. Are brands ready for that? Because the future isn't coming. It's already here. So here's the big question. Will the Super Bowl commercial ever become bigger than the game itself? We might not be there yet, but if brands keep pushing the boundaries, it's not impossible. One thing's for sure, Super Bowl commercials will only keep getting crazier. Thanks for tuning in to Where We're Headed. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.